What's quite concerning is that Babita Deokaran exposed a lot of what is now this alleged rot at Tembisa Hospital in 2021. But now, 4 years post her death, we are seeing that money that has been siphoned and looted from that hospital has more than doubled from that 850 million rand.
Certainly, Katlego. In fact, if there was ever an example of how entrenched and how far-reaching corruption is in South Africa, the Tembisa Hospital saga really does speak volumes. In fact, it's bad enough to siphon money from the state and for public institutions, but essentially to infiltrate healthcare systems, health facilities, well, that's almost unforgivable. And the SIU, of course, led by Advocate Andy Mutobi, really laid bare the kind of ruthlessness in terms of the looting spree that was taking place at this very facility. Initially, as you've mentioned, Babita Deokaran flagging that 850 million. But through this investigation, which has taken some time, but we now see why, they've been able to uncover more than 2 billion rand. And the SIU, in fact, saying that that amount does not stop there. They are still continuing with the investigation, and they do believe that, in fact, there are more individuals behind this, and there is far more money as well that has been taken from the state and this public health facility, in fact. But the SIU today, not very vague in terms of its interim report, quite detailed in the fact that this time they were naming the syndicates, they were identifying the names and the faces behind this mass looting, and also even implicating and speaking to the rot within the officials within Tembisa, as well as the Gauteng Health Department. And I'm going to bring in the SIU spokesperson, Kaiser Kganyago, just to talk to us a little bit more about the findings. It was a very detailed report. In fact, at some point, an advocate there at some point saying it's not only disturbing, but it's quite ruthless in terms of the looting that took place here.
Definitely. That is why we call the Tembisa heist, basically, because you must remember 2 billion rand amounts to basically the budget of this whole hospital. And one line item was able to give away 2 billion rand to the hands of the ruthless people who went around and bought expensive cars and bought houses. And that to us is a sign that people did not care. And in the main, it was very clear that most of these things that were purportedly bought were never delivered to the hospital. But there were officials who signed in to say that they were delivered. There were people in the wards who signed to say, we received them and we used them. Because in the main, it was those substances or materials that are durable, they are going to be used immediately. Therefore,